Hi, my name's Andy Marson, Function Manager for Vehicle Dynamics here at Bentley Motors. So we're here at sunny Silverstone for the media launch of the new Continental GT Speed, enjoying the car in this really fast-flowing environment and really sort of showing what it's capable of. My team have developed the suspension calibrations and especially the rear axle steering for the GT, which is new on our coupe and convertible. What we're able to see here at the track is how agile the car now is, both in the slow speed and high speed corners that we have here. The car's really able to stretch its legs, but one of the really key things with the car is that we've managed to develop a car where we've not sacrificed the ride comfort compared to the standard car, but we've been able to really push the dynamic ability. So when you drive it here on a track or on an A and B road, the car feels much more agile and alive, but yet there's no compromise to ride comfort for this really important GT.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for me to introduce the chassis features of the GT Speed to you today, because the team and myself, we are really excited about this car. And I guess most of you have experienced the Continental GT as we know it. So the task for us and the objective for us was, how can we make a Speed stand out? How can we make that car even better? How can we make it more agile? And this is what we have tried to achieve, and it's now obviously on to you later to judge on whether we were successful. So just to put things in perspective, this shows the differentiation between the various offerings. And starting at the bottom with the gray chassis components, with the content bottom left, that is what is currently also already offered on V8 and W12, which is the Dynamic Ride, the Bentley Dynamic Ride, the active all-wheel drive, the three-chamber air suspension for superior ride comfort, and torque vectoring by brake. And on top of this, then, we have added a few more other chassis components that really make a huge difference, but I will get into this in a little more detail on the next slides. But just to name them, it's the rear axle steering, it's a special calibration on the ESC, it's the electronic rear differential, and an optional CSIC brake. So what do those systems deliver to us? What benefits can we see from that? I'm starting at the bottom again with the Charisma-based ESC. It's a new software. It's an important element for us to really match and balance all of the systems. I'll get to this in a minute. We have all of the other systems that you also already know from the V8 and the W12, and then top left, the red ones, the CSIC brake, obviously superior stopping performance and reduced unsprung weight. The electronic rear differential, it's all about traction and grip. I'll explain this in a minute as well. And the rear axle steering, as you know it, maybe already from the Flying Spur, but here in this car, tuned to a completely different way. So that's the Dynamic Ride, the system that you maybe already know. It's the 48-volt system, active anti-roll bar. It obviously helps to keep the car flat during cornering. But not only this, it also helps to influence the vehicle balance of the car, which is a very, very important feature. And in combination with the other systems that I come to speak to now, enabled us to deliver such a compelling and rounded offering on the GT Speed. So quickly here, an illustration of the hardware components, but it's maybe even better if you have a look later on here. We have a display over there with the rear axle. There you can very nicely see where the rear wheel steering sits, as well as the electronic rear differential. I told you the objective for the team was really to make this car even more agile and to improve it on something that is already very good, which is the Continental GT. You know the Charisma setting, the drive mode settings that we have. We have a Comfort, we have a Bentley, and a Sport setting. And we also have a dynamic mode, something I'll talk about later, and definitely something you could later experience in the car. But based on this, what we were trying to do, we were trying to stretch that envelope, this charisma envelope, even further. And we stretched it in a certain direction, as you can see. We tried and maintain the same level of comfort as on the other offerings. But really, we're able to move it further towards this in the sporty direction. So you can see an increased yaw response from the car, and this was really enabled by the various chassis components. And it's not only the list of all of those chassis components that make the difference, it's the package and how they interact with each other and how they work in perfect harmony. And together with this and the drive modes, we have really spent, or the team has spent a lot of time on ESC calibration to really expand the base chassis and give you and to showcase the dynamics of the car and of the chassis. Let me now talk about some of the components that I already briefly mentioned. The CSIC brake is one of them. It already has been mentioned that it's the biggest, the largest brake in the world, with 440 in the front. And it's a complete new development. From a chassis point of view, the most interesting element is for me really that it's much lighter than a steel spring, so the unsprung weight is reduced by something like 33 kilograms. It obviously was developed and tested heavily all across the world, it's a brake that is very competent in terms of stopping power, but also in terms of fade resistance. Based on a very well-balanced chassis, the ESC then works in perfect harmony and is and always does the correct thing. So what is the correct thing? It is very unintrusive. It's mainly working in the background, but it is there to help you if you go beyond a certain limit. And this really enables us to show with this car or give the driver the opportunity to explore the limits, to really play with the dynamics of the car and still being on the safe side. We have different modes, and my colleagues will run you through that in the car. We have the sport mode, the dynamic mode, where you press only a short press on the ESC button that gets you into the dynamic mode, and with a long press you can switch it off and then can enjoy and explore the pure balance of the car without the intervention of ESC. Rear wheel steering is a system that I'm sure you know from other products, including our own products, the Flying Spur. And the rear wheel steering is really makes a huge difference in the Continental GT, because we combined it with a quicker steering ratio on the front. We were able to do so because this system gives us a very impressive level of stability, but at lower speeds, and I'm sure you know about this, at lower speeds, by turning the rear wheels in the opposite direction to the front, you can make the car more agile, you can reduce the turning circle. So we are just short of 10 meters, 9.9 meter turning circle with this car, and that's the benefit at lower speeds. At higher speeds, the rear wheels are steered in the same direction as the front, and that makes the car less sensitive. It gives you really a significant level of stability, and I can assure you, and I can confirm you, we've tested it everywhere. We've done high-speed testing, and it's really amazing how stable it is at 300 plus. It's a joy to drive, and it's not biting at you. It's not giving you sweaty hands. I already mentioned the electronic limited slip differential, and that works in combination with the active all-wheel drive system that you already know from our other products, our other Continental products. And this, again, is a feature that allows us to improve on the traction and the agility. And it not only helps in fast in getting finding the right traction coming out of a bend. It also helps you in approaching a bend, and we tuned it, the team tuned it and calibrated it in a way that the car really follows the input of the driver. So it really always follows the steering input, and it gives you a superior level of traction and grip coming out of the bend at the same time. There is a short illustration of what it does. It obviously can shift the torque that you get on the wheels within milliseconds, and as I said, it helps to avoid understeer, and it gives you a level of freedom coming out of a bend where you can really adjust and play with the car on the throttle. Right, and I think with this, that's the end of the chassis presentation, of the chassis highlights. Let me finish by summarizing and concluding that, and you probably noticed already, I'm very, very proud of that product and of the team, because I think we really managed to improve a car that is already very good and bring it onto a completely different level in terms of agility and performance. And yeah, the team is here today to answer any questions that you might have, and I hope you enjoyed. I think it's a car that is easily enjoyable. It's very drivable. It still gives you a lot of fun. And fair enough, it's not a track car, even though we are on a track today. But what the track shows is that it's obviously very competent and able to do what it does on a track, also on public roads, obviously at lower speeds, but in a similar way.